What a gorgeous 69-degree October evening at Charlotte Motor Speedway as we get set for tonight's NASCAR Nationwide Series Dollar General 300. The field of 40 about to be waved off the pit lane onto this fast mile and a half to begin the 3 parade and pace laps. In a Cup driver-dominated season, Trevor Bayne is one of the few Nationwide Series regulars to score a victory. He's our ESPN in-race reporter tonight, driving that number 6 Mustang. He lines up 7th.
Trevor, Dale Jarrett, the ESPN. You ready to talk to us, bud?
Yes, sir.
All right, Trevor. Hey, I heard a lot this week from different drivers talking about how this racetrack now is starting to change back to a little more of the old Charlotte, where not as much grip, some bumps out there. I know you enjoy this racetrack, but what are your challenges here tonight?
You know, this is a really fast racetrack ever since they repaved it. We haven't seen a lot of tire wear, but in practice, like you said, it's starting to age a little bit. Tires are starting to fall off, which puts it back into the crew chief's hands on strategy a little bit. And the biggest difference that we're seeing is that at night, it seems to tighten up, which over the last couple years, it seemed to get looser at night. So we're kind of playing it to tighten up some here and make adjustments to free it up later in the race. So hopefully we guess the right way. You never really know until you get into the race, but we're looking forward to a good race here. Pit road's packed because we're here in Charlotte, where all the families get to come out and the guys that work hard all year finally get to come see the cars that they built, and we'll see if we can't get this Cargill Mustang to the front.
Well, Trevor, we had a lot of entries for our mailbag question to you, and so we chose Duke from Wauwatosa, Wisconsin. And he asked, with so many races being won by the 22 and the 54, are you more likely to try something different strategy-wise to beat those teams?
No, I don't think so. I mean, there's a lot of fast cars out here. That's a question for Mike Kelly. He's the man with the strategy, but my strategy is go out here and be faster than all these other guys, and that's what you got to do to win. And Mike knows that, and our pit crew is one of the best ones out there. So if we're in the hunt on the racetrack, I know that they can beat them off pit road, and we'll have a chance to win this thing.
Well, not only do you drive good, but you do a good job of setting this next question up that's going to come from your crew chief, Mike Kelly, as Andy talks to him.
Sounds good.
Hey, Mike Kelly, Andy Peter in the booth. You have us down there?
Sure do, Andy. Got you loud and clear, bud.
All right, let's follow up on that. You guys are in a position to gamble. What would be your ideal scenario you'd like to see develop where you could take advantage of maybe a good gamble to win this thing?
Hopefully our 6 Cargill Mustangs really fast all night now up front. We don't have a lot of strategy. We here and the way the race will play out. We'll have to see if 2 tires in option or no tires and gases at the end. Like I said, I hope this Cargill Mustang's fast enough where we're out front at the end and we just get to see the checker flag. We got a lot of friends and family here in Charlotte. The place is packed. Want to put a good race on for these people here tonight for Nationwide Insurance.
Well, Mike, we really appreciate you talking to us, and we hope you guys have good luck with that tonight.
Thanks, guys.
Mike Kelly, Trevor Bayne, our ESPN in-race reporters tonight. Over-the-wall camera being carried by the rear tire changer for Alex Bowman in the 99 car. Chris Winchell. Chris, have a great night tonight. Thanks for carrying our camera.
Appreciate it.
And cameras on board these race cars. Some good ones tonight. The championship leader, Austin Dillon, has our AdvoCare on board. You just heard from Trevor Bayne with our Sunoco on board. Regan Smith has the Nationwide Insurance camera. And Sam Hornish, one of the title contenders with a Goodyear on board. Matt Kenseth, get the GameStop on board. Last week's winner, Joey Logano, on the front row with our Ford EcoBoost camera. Justin Allgaier has the Chevy on board. And on the pole, Kyle Busch with our Nationwide Insurance on board. While they work through the second of the 3 pace laps, let's check downstairs on pit road for a final moment in the quiet. Here's Vince Welch.
Thank you, Alan. With 4 races to go, Austin Dillon has the points lead for the first time since early August. But he says his philosophy and their approach will not change at all tonight. They want to take that 8-point lead and build on it. Yes, they do have the lead, but they are not going to play defense. Jamie Little?
Sam Hornish Jr. is a man on a mission. After finishing 17th the last 2 weeks in a row and losing the point lead a week ago, they're ready for a big rebound tonight. He did just that earlier, though. Went out, qualified third, his best effort ever at Charlotte. Now the goal is to beat that 3 car of Austin Dillon and maintain focus on winning his first championship. Dave Burns?
So far, it's not been the weekend that Kyle Larson has dreamed of. Terrible is the way he described the car yesterday, and today crew chief Trent Owens was not that much more optimistic. The key will be Larson's ability to find a line on this racetrack where his car is fast. And Owens says that the 21-year-old is one of the best he's ever seen at doing just that. Dr. Jerry Punch?
Well, Dave, tonight's fifth-place starter, Regan Smith, sits third in the series standing, some 35 points back of Austin Dillon. Now, earlier in the year, Regan lost a 58-point lead over a span of 3 races. So he knows with 4 races to go, he is still very, very much in the championship hunt. But he's got to get it done here tonight. Alan?
All right, Doc, thanks. And a half a lap from the start. We invite you to check out NASCAR.com/RaceBuddy for enhanced coverage from Charlotte Motor Speedway with 10 HD live race views, live chat, and live leaderboard throughout the night tonight. 1.5-mile track, 300 miles, 200 laps. Kyle Busch on pole position, certainly the favorite. He led 186 and 200 laps in winning the 300-miler here in May. But we give you this to think about as the race starts. 25 races in this series at this track since a pole winner has gone home with the trophy.
Well, he's broken a lot of records and stopped a lot of things that happened in this sport.
Yeah, this is his first pole here, too. So this is the first time he's had the opportunity to do it.
We'll see. Pace cars off. The 2 championships in the front 2 rows, and we're ready to race at Charlotte for the Nationwide Series. Couple of spots in that pack on the first lap. Some guys had trouble getting going. Logano on that outside row was one of them, but everybody made it through.
Yeah, and I think we'll see this groove move up in the outside lane work after the tires get some laps on them and things. I really believe turn 4, the exit of there to the front straightaway, that transition, as we see 3 wide already down the back straightaway going into turn 3, that's going to be the trouble spot I foresee.
Larson 32 slipping back a little bit. Kevin Harvick 33 trying to move up.
Trying that upper groove in 1 and 2, and usually that's not the fast way. Usually in 1 and 2, the low groove's the better way. Look at Harvick.
That's 5th place he just picked up on Alex Bowman.
Yeah, he's not able to make it stick,
that wash out on him, yeah.
Yeah, and that's what happens when you try to drive it down in there and make the car stick. Giving it too much gas and try to get back to the gas too soon, the car just washes out. But you really have to attack this racetrack with these cars.
Front 4 single file. Here's the knot from 5th place on back. Just watching Larson in that 32 making his NASCAR Sprint Cup Series debut this weekend. Just climbed out of his Sprint Cup car about 40 minutes ago from final practice, and his first experience making that transition back and forth from garage to garage to garage.
Yeah, one thing I noticed in the Sprint Cup practice, he was running that high line, and I think he had a mind of doing that at the start of this race. He started on the outside, but he wasn't able to make the pass up there on these cold tires and good tires. I think once the tires wear some, you'll see the cars move up like you said, Dale.
Yeah, I agree, because it'll be about momentum then. You can keep that up there. You might even find a little more grip up there, but there's still enough on the bottom with the tires good that that's the fastest way around.
A fascinating watch this will be. Kyle Busch 54, Joey Logano 22. You saw in Countdown the late race tangle with Kyle and Brad Keselowski as these 2 teams race for the Nationwide Series Owners Championship. Different driver this week. It is Joey Logano. I talked with members of both teams. They both say that is between drivers. It doesn't really spill over to us. So everybody's eyes are on how much Joey Logano will stick up for his team, if you will, on the track.
Yeah, I think, too, that Kyle's probably glad that it's Joey Logano racing that car this week, and maybe this thing can simmer down some.
I'm not so sure about that. I'm not sure it will. You know, we've made the analogy a couple of times in our meetings about baseball. You know, it's not always the pitcher that kind of created things and start things that kind of finishes things off, and so never know what may happen. These drivers take this personally, and we've talked about this being a team effort as much as anything in trying to win this Owners Championship. I believe Logano got the lead right there.
By a bumper.
Just passing him does way more than doing anything else, though. That's satisfaction enough if you can do that.
And that little bit of side-by-side brings Sam Hornish in the 12 up to join them in the top 2 spots.
That give you a little more satisfaction to bring your teammate along with you?
yeah, putting cars in between, certainly. And this is a type race that Sam Hornish needs to run all night long. They need to get back in their attack mode. That's when they were so good at the beginning of this year, when they were attacking, trying to win. You know, they beat the best of them at Las Vegas earlier this year. They need to make that happen again.
So the Penske Fords 1 and 2 now, and Kyle Busch dropping back in his Camry to 3rd position after leading the opening 6 laps of the race. Austin Dillon right there as well, and Kevin Harvick closing in 5th place. Just underway at Charlotte. Just underway. Opening laps of this one. Kyle Busch started on pole, led the first 6 laps. Joey Logano and Sam Hornish went by him. That's how they run now. Logano, Hornish, and now Busch back in 3rd place, Vince.
That's right, Alan. And the issue for Kyle, the handling.
Too loose everywhere. Hit hard.
They are going to snug him up at the first opportunity, but Kyle says he also feels some inconsistency in the car. At times it feels tight, but definitely the overall impression is that it's loose everywhere, as you heard.
Yeah, Vince, I just saw there, he looked like he had quite a bit of wheel in it, and then the car kind of snapped loose. It's what sometimes we call a push loose situation, where you have a lot of wheel in the car, and then you turn it with the throttle, you're pretty hard on the throttle, and then it jumps out from under you.
Yeah, and the one thing that you fight here as a driver, with the 24-degree banking that you have here, but it really, the transitions on the exit of the corner flattens out so quickly. If you've got that wheel, then it's going to snap around. And so what might look like a really loose race car,
Right dead center, but all the way through.
a lot of it can be happening because the car's a little bit on the tight side, and then that makes it loose then.
Yeah, watching that right there, last couple laps, it looks like it is right in the center, just like you heard him say, that he's loose right in the center of the corner at max load.
So Kyle sending feedback back to the pit box for the first pit stop, so Adam Stevens can make some adjustments and keep those hands from being quite that busy.
Yeah, you don't want to be turning right on the exit of these corners, or in the middle.
So Kyle back in 3rd, now 2.2 seconds off this race for the lead, with Logano and Hornish running 1 and 2. Big, 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 not overstating it, big race for Sam if he can come up there and win this race. Austin Dillon has been so rock solid on the 1.5-mile tracks, except this one. And of the 4 races remaining, 3 of them are on 1.5 miles.
I think this track is a lot like the Las Vegas racetrack where Sam won earlier this year. And they had found some things in their setups and kind of pioneered those with their teammate even. And I believe this is one of these tracks he can get another win and put some pressure on that 3 team of Austin Dillon.
Yeah, and I think it kind of plays into their hand a little bit. The thing they've been struggling with a little bit is the grip factor and getting their car to do what they want. Well, they've got a night race with a racetrack that still has a good amount of grip, and I think that's going to play into their favor.
And, of course, besides the opportunity to gain points on Austin Dillon, Sam's got to turn the momentum back in his favor. All right, this concludes a long stretch of consecutive races for the Nationwide Series. Well, now they've got 2 weekends off before that final 3-week stretch to determine who'll be champion. To turn the momentum tonight from it slipping away to now I'm back in control would be a big thing to sit on these next couple of weeks. That's just part of what's on the plate for Hornish tonight, Jamie.
Absolutely. They have a lot going on. He's saying right now his water temp is about 240 and his car overall is a little tight as he ducks inside his teammate trying to take the lead, and he does it. But Alan, back to your point, how these Nationwide guys will be off the next couple weeks. Sam Hornish Jr. is going to race in the Cup race next week with this entire 12 team at Talladega. Now that's been scheduled, but it's to keep him in the seat. They'll also be going down to Homestead to test, so he's staying in the car and keeping his mind on this championship.
Look at those eyes.
Yeah, and a win would be fantastic for them. Obviously, that would gain them points automatically, but it's as important just to finish in front of this 3-car tonight and make some kind of gain going into having those 2 weeks off and then going to those last 3 races.
And Sam finished 17th the last 2 straight races. The only time this season he's finished outside the top 10 in back-to-back races.
Yeah, but back to your point earlier, Dale, is what got him in this position to be running for a championship is that aggressiveness, getting out there running good and not really racing one other team, racing to win. And that's what I think that they need to get back to. It looks like it's what they're doing tonight.
Regan Smith, 7. Kyle Larson, 32. Remember, we saw Larson fall back behind Smith earlier in a 3-way race for a spot. Larson passed Smith back, and now he's given the spot back up again.
Regan Smith always does a good job here of managing his race car and his tires and seems to always have a good car on the longer runs.
Wow, see that wiggle on the 32? That was uncomfortable.
Yeah, and you get that wiggle into the corner, you're only going to get a few times that you might save that.
Now Regan Smith looking to reestablish his name in the winner's circle in this series. After a couple of wins earlier this season, been a tough stretch through August and September for the New York native. Sam Hornish Jr. out in front at Charlotte very early on in tonight's race. There's the race lead live at Charlotte Motor Speedway in the Dollar General 300. Sam Hornish Jr. trying to reclaim the top spot in the Nationwide Series Championship out in front of his Penske teammate Joey Logano with Kyle Busch, Austin Dillon, and Kevin Harvick rounding out the top 5. Dillon running in that 4th position, leading the championship, barely starting this race tonight. This little race for position between Trevor Bayne in the 6 and Parker Kligerman in the 77 for 13th has been interesting the last several laps.
Yeah, almost got real interesting right here. You can see Kligerman get really loose. That almost created a 2-car accident there.
Now, I think Trevor gave him just a little extra room right here, and that's probably what kept him from getting in trouble.
Yeah.
That was after a close call off turn 4. That down in turns 1 and 2. They had a close call coming off of 4 side by side and went down the other end of the racetrack and went at it again. And now Kligerman is regrouped, and he's going to try Trevor one more time when he gets there.
Yeah, when you're that car on the outside in that 2-car battle like that, you know that likelihood of that car on the inside getting loose is there, especially the closer you get to him and take more of that air off of his spoiler.
Fastest, it's even in your best interest to give him some room.
Sorry, Andy, fastest mover in this race. That car, Elliott Sadler, had a crash in qualifying. Joe Gibbs' team had to roll out the backup car for Elliott. He started at the back of this field, and he's all the way up to 16th place.
Yeah, he's running laps that are in the top 5 as far as lap times. So it looks like this backup car is doing him a good job, Doc.
It is running very, very well. Elliott told me before climbing in the car, he said, I was embarrassed. We were too loose in qualifying, hit the wall, had to go to a backup car. He said, I'm racing to honor my mom, Dustin Penske, a breast cancer survivor, Belle Sadler. Said also the CEO and many, many people from our sponsor are here tonight. He said, I have to put on a show. Started 37th, has gained 21 spots in 31 laps, now 34 laps, so he is on his way. What a night so far for Elliott Sadler.
Yeah, he's put on a show so far.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, and it's just uncharacteristic. That tells you how loose that car was, because Elliott usually is going to get the very most out of the car, and in situations to where the car's not handling that well, then he just takes what it'll give him. But it's a special night. He wanted to qualify up there, but he continues to run really top 3 speeds on every single lap.
So we'll see, the closer you get to the front, the harder they are to get by. But Elliott, 50 miles into this race, has worked his way all the way up, almost to the top 15. There's the gap first to second. Now in some lap traffic. And that's nothing to take for granted at this racetrack. Talked about how tricky it is. These lap cars are obviously struggling already at a slower pace, and getting around them and that whole tricky air situation you find yourself in can make it tough.
Yeah, and some of them you come up on extremely quick, especially on the entrance to the corners, and that's where you're not sure what they're going to do at times. You try to look far enough ahead that you can anticipate that, but these cars obviously aren't driving very well, so you have to really give them a little extra room and be a little bit more cautious around this right now.
Yeah, not too bad when they're single file like this, but we've seen them come up on some groups of cars racing each other. That makes it a little tricky.
Sam Hornish.
A little bit throttle, it rotates the car, but it actually feels really good right now. But if you feel like the track's going to continue to free up, we'll probably need to tighten it up a little bit, mostly drive off.
That's pretty detailed.
Yeah, that's good information right there. It gets the crew chief ready to start thinking about adjustments. It's something you can do with just air pressure. Is they going to take a little bit of wedge or a track bar adjustment? Doesn't sound like they need a lot. Doesn't look like they need a lot.
Yeah, but you have to keep up with it, and that was good information. And one thing I took from that is that they have already talked about this. They expect the track to get freer. And so he just let him know what their status was now, and they can make plans for later.
Joey Logano running second. And the gap back to Kyle Busch in third is growing. Kyle now an even 5 seconds behind.
Yeah, this is uncharacteristic of this team and Kyle Busch at a 1.5 mile racetrack. We saw him sit on the pole and thought maybe he would go out there and try to lead the most laps and win this race. And I'm sure that's what he's trying to do, but the car's not cooperating.
And the car wasn't the best yesterday in practice, and so they didn't get exactly where they wanted. I think his lap was simply the talent of Kyle Busch and the grip of the tires that they had at that time, and that's how he made the fastest lap around here in qualifying.
Now, we've talked about Sam Hornish and all of the agendas maybe inside that helmet tonight and on top of his pit box. Here's Austin Dillon leading this championship finally, but he comes to the one racetrack where he's qualified lights out, but the race has been kind of a struggle. What's inside that helmet as we go through this night?
Well, to me, I think that they've taken a little different approach, and I think that showed up in qualifying, that they didn't set that. Because when they were winning the pole here, they were beating them by a substantial margin, but that wasn't working out for a good setup for this race as things changed. I think they've gone about this a little bit differently, and I think a lot of that has to do with his grandfather, Richard Childress, getting more involved with this race team as they try to win this championship.
Well, you're right. What happens is you find some things that make the car go fast, and then it pays off. You go get a pole, you get another one, you get some more. And all of a sudden, but you're not racing good. It's hard to come off of that because you know you can go out there and sit on the pole and set records. They've done that this year. But I think they finally have realized that strategy is not going to win them a championship. You don't get any points for poles. You get points for finishing these races. And I think that they've come up with a better strategy to get those finishes.
Vince Welch is covering Austin Dillon tonight. Vince?
Well, the big focus for this team was turn 4. They felt the car was handling pretty good in 1 and 2, but the drive off of turn 4 was a major focus for this 3 team as they prepared for this race today. Right now, Austin says it's just too free to start, and he can't hustle it, but he told crew chief Danny Stockman, who you see on the right, I feel like it's coming to me the further we go.
You know, it's interesting because the pressures of this track that we talked about in the championship, and yet they haven't won this year. And you know that's eating at all of them just a little bit too. You want to win that championship.
Yeah, you don't want to be that driver that wins that championship. With
that first one.
It hasn't happened in the 3 major series of NASCAR.
Yeah. Well, Austin running in 4th. Sam Hornish leading this race. And coming up on the first round of pit stops at Charlotte Motor Speedway. On each.
Yeah, Longhorns have had a tough start to the season, but don't ever count out a team coached by Mack Brown.
Can fix a lot of things, right?
Yes.
A win against your rival. Coming up on a first round of pit stops as we're caution-free so far. And actually your leader's coming in there. Greg Irwin on the horn to Sam Hornish. And we'll see him pitting. Tanner Berryhill's already been on and off pit road and has been busted for speeding on the pit lane. Don't do that if you're the race leader here. Take the trip down pit road to Sam. Will turn in front of his crew and in front of Jamie.
And you heard that great feedback Sam Hornish Jr. gave his crew chief, saying what he needs. They're going to work on the rear end, the exit as well, to get him to turn better. He said the car overall is pretty good. Track bar down 1. There's that adjustment. Already made the air pressure adjustments on the tires that are going on now. They'll fill them up with Sunoco fuel. And let's go back to Doc.
7-car pitting, Jimmy Johnson, Sprint Cup pit crew, changing tires. It'll be 4 tires, chassis adjustment, a tick tight under throttle for Regan Smith. Waiting on fuel, got it full, he's down. Jamie.
And Joey Logano saying he's a little free, but he was starting to slide the nose better, so he liked the feel of it. They're going to make the same adjustments as his teammate in the 12. Air pressure, they took the tear off the windshield. 4 tires here, track bar adjustment there, and they'll fill them up with Sunoco fuel and see if this will help him go in the right direction. Vince?
The 54 of Kyle Busch needs more front turn and more rear lateral grip. Chassis adjustment, 4 fresh Goodyear, Sunoco fuel, and away goes Kyle Busch in just under 15 seconds. Now the 20 is in as well. That's Brian Vickers. He's steadily gotten better on this run. 4 tire change for Vickers, and Sunoco fuel quick stop under 12.
Matt Kenseth is in. He's made up half the ground from his 15th place starting position. Came in running 8th. He has a car that's just a little bit tight. A track bar and wedge adjustment slow on the left side. Jamie.
Kevin Harvick in the 33 comes into his pit box saying he's just a little tight on exit. Working with a new crew chief this week. Nick Harrison has taken over the crew chief duties on the 33. They filled him up with Sunoco fuel, and hopefully that'll help the car. Let's go back to Vince.
The championship leader is Austin Dillon in for his first pit stop. Says the balance at the start was loose, but it got better the further they went along. So Danny Stockman's going to make an air pressure adjustment. 4 tires, and look at the crashing we got going on.
Trouble on the front stretch, and then Brian Vickers went down to avoid that and hit Elliott Sadler, who was coming off the pit lane.
We got hit.
Wow. Bizarre moment that started with trouble on the front straightaway and wound up with 2 Joe Gibbs Racing cars crashed in turn 1.
We've got quarter panel damage. Let's bring it to it.
You know it's not your day. When you had that spin in qualifying, you recovered from that. Reed Sorensen there. You race all the way up almost into the top 10 and then get hit coming off pit road
by your teammate.
Levine Racing Team fielding a Nationwide Series car, and going to do that a few more times as they build that racing operation. Reed Sorensen on board tonight. His car torn up. That's Brian Vickers.
Locked up in the front end. You're just shooting sparks everywhere.
A lot of damage there striking that. I didn't even think that car would continue to roll when I first saw it.
Yeah.
Well, it's really not rolling. The left front's not anyway. It's good to see Reed get out.
This was strange.
Yeah, right here, this is the 95 car of Reed Sorensen. It looked like he was just, well, he caught the grass in that trioval. Yeah. That's what it was.
Happens a lot of times.
Oh man, that was a hard lick too, from the outside, and that's where Vickers was just trying to avoid.
Wow.
And it's just not Elliott Sadler's day.
No, and the 11 and the 20 both have had so many things happen this year when we expected so much from both of them. A lot of times you go cut that.
All 3 is slow head, spinning head, up, now down. All right.
You got to cut that dog leg just a little bit, and he was approaching those cars really quickly, got down in that grass, and then you're just out of control.
Eric McClure also involved in the 14.
Anything about them gonna hit me. I thought we were just racing the caution car. Oh, that's why I was telling you to go. Yeah, you like race the caution car go, not like they were giving you turn it out of the race car.
Elliott talking to his spotter, Brett Griffin, and in that situation, Brett's seen cars about to hit his from behind, and that's amazing.
Well, and the move that Vickers made, I don't think he saw or really realized how slow Elliott Sadler was going. It all happened real fast. I don't even think the spotter could keep up with that.
No, not for enough time for Elliott to probably gas it and get out of the way there. Just unfortunate. Crazy things that happen in this sport.
That's bad luck.
Yeah.
Bizarre crash on the front stretch. Elliott Sadler, Brian Vickers, Eric McClure, and Reed Sorensen. Well, a rather bizarre incident finds Elliott Sadler's backup car with some rather significant damage. Started off turn 4 when Reed Sorensen just made a mistake.
Yeah, you can see him approaching cars that are a little bit slower. He had the idea that through the 12 he was going to try to go to the inside here once again, but gets down too far into the grass, out of control.
That's a hard angle into that outside wall.
And then avoiding Sorensen, Brian Vickers plows right into his teammate Elliott Sadler, who was just coming off the pit lane.
How about Elliott's going? Really? I'm just minding my own business here.
Talk about wrong place, wrong time.
Huh.
And now, Doc, after pulling out the backup car, it looks like that.
It sure does, you know, but it looks worse than it really is. Elliott initially said the whole back of the car is gone, guys. You could hear how dejected he was in the car. He came in, and Chris Gale and company said, no, the splitter's okay. Let's check the track bar. Looked underneath the back of the car. The track bar's okay. Said it's ugly, and the right rear quarter panel is gone, but chassis-wise, we're okay. And that lifted Elliott back up. They've been on and off pit road now twice. Elliott went out to get up to speed and see if he could feel any vibrations in the right rear of the car, and so far, he's not feeling anything significant other than the fact that he's missing most of the right rear quarter panel and the rear fascia there in the deck.
Yeah, I see a lot of good things. Like you said, Doc, all the wheels are going the right direction. The spoiler's in the air. But the big negative is that right rear quarter panel being gone. And that is what's going to hurt him the most. If they can figure out a way to fab a rear part of that quarter panel on there, it would help him a lot, because this is not going to be good for him aero-wise.
Yeah, these cars are so dependent on that right side, and then especially that right rear quarter panel to help them attack the corners and get the maximum downforce that they need.
I know what I'd be doing. I'd be fabbing up something that was actually even better than what came off of it.
So Elliott Sadler right now with troubles, but on the track. His teammate Brian Vickers with troubles that require time in the garage.
Yeah, heavy suspension damage. You can see the left front here. They looked at the radiator. Want to make sure the suspension where it's pushed in didn't get in against the engine and damage the block. They think that's going to be okay, but they've got a lot of work basically repairing the left front suspension. They'll cut some more of the sheet metal away, probably take most of the front end off, but try to get him back on the racetrack. Probably looking at 30 to 40 minutes minimum to get him back out. And they've got basically two crews here from Joe Gibbs Racing, the guys, the Monster crew from Kyle Busch, plus their own crew trying to get the 20 car repaired, but probably a half an hour or more back here in the garage.
Now that shows you the season that it's been for Sadler and Vickers compared to the season that it's been for Kyle Busch. And tonight's certainly not going to help those numbers for Elliott or for Brian. Now, that caution coming out in the middle of green flag pit stops, but the cycle for the leaders was just about complete. And the one or two cars who hadn't stopped under the green came in under the caution. So Sam Hornish cycles back around to the top spot. And the running order, not much changed among this front group, although Matt Kenseth does pick up some spots by good work from his pit crew and some of the others being shuffled around a little bit in that cycle of stops. So you see Kenseth up to 6th place there in that 18 car. Let's see what happens here. Whoa, Michael Annett, yellow car, look out. Joey Logano, for a second consecutive start, had troubles getting going in that first position outside lane. Right now he's fighting to hang on to second spot over Austin Dillon, and he gets it done there.
It's like he's not real comfortable in going down into turn one and staying in the gas, because they're pretty much running wide open once they hit high gear through that corner, but it doesn't look like that 22 car really likes to do that.
Kevin Harvick. Going to get through for third place.
Yeah, Harvick's car was really good on that first run. He just kind of sat back there, but he ran really, really good lap times throughout.
Whoa. Boy, Kyle Busch had his hands full there in the 54. Did you see that? He went in the corner, and that thing was bobbing and weaving, and he did a nice job to gather that up.
Yeah, he might be one of the few people that can hold on to that race car tonight. Every time we've taken an in-car shot, his hands are busy in there.
See,
There
sideways
it is
right there again.
Whoa.
It's like anytime that a car gets around him, too, that his problem is just magnified.
Kyle Larson, 32. Matt Kenseth, 18. And on board with Kyle Busch.
Uh-oh. Matt tries to give Kyle Larson just a little bit of help. That's a bad place to do it, though.
Regan Smith joins the party in the 7.
And the bumpers on these Nationwide cars don't line up as well, so you have to be really, really careful if you're going to try to give someone a little bit of a push.
Uh-oh. Kyle sliding there. He has his hands full tonight.
Yeah, he really does. And it certainly doesn't look like whatever they did on the pit stop has helped him at all.
I think Trevor Bayne touched that wall coming off turn 4. Yeah, you can see some damage.
Racing Kevin Swindell there for 10th place.
That one might not have been an all bad hit right there. Flatten that right rear quarter panel out just a little bit. Well, that's usually a short track tactic right there, but it works on the speedways. Oh, got trouble over in 3 and 4. I believe that's Elliott Sadler's car.
They're right in front of the leaders, too. They're coming. He's out of the way.
Got to definitely go to the garage now.
10-4, bring it to the garage. We'll meet you there.
Talked about how much you lean on the air on that right rear fender.
Yeah, not having that right rear quarter panel really changes the dynamics of these cars. And he probably started trying to push it a little bit.
Yep.
And there's nothing to lean on.
Yeah, he was just kind of taking it easy, feeling it out. But as you do that, you build up a little bit more confidence in it, and then you find out that limit. And unfortunately, just what it looked like was going to be a promising night, even with the backup car, has gone away for Elliott Sadler here.
This will be one of those nights when he will be happy to drive out the gate and say, I'll see you in 6 months to this racetrack. So second caution out in the race just as we come to the 100-mile mark of the event. Andy, all the leaders in between laps 49 and 52. What do you think?
Yeah, I think they might stay out here because they have a limited amount of sets of tires, and there's, you know, the tires are still pretty good right now. I don't think they would, and I don't believe it puts them in any pit window.
Pit road open here. Wondered if we'll see Kyle Busch in because of that car's handling, but no. So no takers among the front runners, and second caution out. Elliott Sadler's been involved in both of them. Tough night. 7 Eastern time. Going to be similar weather conditions tomorrow night. It will be very, very difficult for these drivers and teams. The competition level of the field, the strategy, the track position. It seems like in each of these last several mile-and-a-half track races for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, it's been about the crew chief positioning his driver for the end to have a shot.
Yeah, it's put a lot of stress on those Sprint Cup teams because they're all so close together. I mean, we see these qualifying times within 100th of a second. Hard to find an advantage there.
Yeah, the level of competition is just incredible. They run so fast and so close together, makes it almost impossible to pass on the racetrack. They get it done after some handling goes away, but it's very important where that crew chief puts his driver.
Call it the degree of difficulty will be high. tomorrow night. Parker Kligerman on the last restart. There's so much going on. We had one car, Michael Annett, slipping up in the middle, up toward the front of the pack, stacking things up a little bit. Well, watch what Kligerman did to try and make up some ground.
Yeah, you can see as they start out right here, they're in a pretty good group of cars. Talk about the degree of difficulty. He makes this look pretty easy.
He had a few of them getting loose there and couldn't get to the throttle, but he was in the gas, just going where they weren't.
Not done yet.
He hesitated just a minute right there. Just wasn't sure he was going to have that lane.
Caution out for Elliott Sadler in turns 3 and 4. Doc.
And Elliott Sadler out of the car here in the garage area. Elliott, how would you describe this day and now this night?
Oh, man, very, very frustrating. We had a rocket. Man, these guys did a great job with this car, and we're running top 2 or 3 lap times, past a lot of cars, making our way up to the front. And I don't think anything's ever happened like that to me on pit road. You know, my spotter was telling me to go. They're wrecking behind me, which I thought I was just racing the leader to the line to try to stay on the lead lap. I had no idea they were coming and were going to hit me and tear my car all to pieces on pit road. So, man, just frustrating. We got a lot of people here from One Main Financial. They're such great people and gave us the pink paint scheme tonight in honor of my mom and breast cancer awareness. And we just didn't able to do anything with it tonight. But just proud of my guys. Man, we had a fast car. We just that's weird luck that we had here tonight. It's tough.
Alan?
Well, very, very tough night for Elliott Sadler. Again, the whole story, spin in qualifying, the backup car to start the race from the back of the pack up to the top 15, then hit coming off the pit lane. Then the final spin that resulted in that. October, Breast Cancer Awareness Month. A lot of breast cancer survivors on hand before the start of tonight's race. Unfortunately, if they were cheering for the pink-themed race cars tonight, it's been a tough night for them, particularly in that bizarre crash where both Elliott Sadler, Brian Vickers, and the car of Reed Sorensen, all painted pink, were damaged. It's been a little bit of a tough night at Charlotte Motor Speedway in the opening going tonight. Not quite to halfway, working the second caution of the race. Championship story, Sam Hornish Jr. is the leader. Austin Dillon is running 4th. Team championship, Joey Logano runs 2nd. Kyle Busch runs 5th in the Penske 22 and Gibbs 54 respectively. And for Sam Hornish, right now, he's working on getting max points tonight. He's leading the most laps and in that #1 spot.
10-4, I'm just trying to figure out if that change wasn't enough or if it actually freed us up. Your buddy there right behind you, they went the same way. We'll check with them. Swung a little bigger, same adjustment on the track bar, made a little bit of a change on air pressure. We'll go that direction next time. The way we started the race, direction they went.
Trading information with Penske cars running 1 and 2 and trying to figure out what's always a challenge here, especially for the crew chief. What are the track conditions going to do at this speedway?
Yeah, and that's what he's getting good information from 2 different sources here, and that's what's really helpful when you have a teammate on the racetrack, especially when they're running this well.
Yeah, and I think the thing that Sam needs to understand with his, wondering if he might be looser, he's out front now. He's got all the downforce there, which is usually going to make you looser when you get out there because he came from back in the pack and had a little bit of dirty air to start this race. So it may be a positive, but he's going to have to give it a few laps.
He had to put down a ton of oil dry on the track from this incident. They finally got most of it cleaned up. They even had to put a ton of oil dry down the pit lane, and they've been sweeping and vacuuming that up.
And these drivers are telling me this track has changed a lot from the May races to what they found here in October.
Last of the safety vehicles just clearing the racetrack. Expect the pace car to do the same right here. Once again, Logano struggles to get completely going in that outside lane on the restart. Kevin Harvick now through to second and right on the bumper of leader Sam Hornish.
Yeah, Harvick was ready for that restart. He wasn't going to let Sam Hornish do anything but get out in front as he was pushing him once they got up through the gears. See, Logano's car's coming back now. It just takes it about a lap and a half to get the tires, get a little heat in them.
He got a good initial start. Right when they got the green, he took off better than he had been. But when they got to the corner, that's when he was having some problems.
How little he's out of the throttle.
Not much. I was thinking the same thing. Just barely cracking it.
Look at the sparks showered out from Kevin Harvick's car. He's got that front end right down on the ground.
Looks like there's something dragging.
Dragging in the back right there.
It's like maybe a brace of some sort.
Yeah.
They have a brace that goes from the rear axle over to the trailing arm, one of the suspension links. It looks like that could be possibly what that is.
Puts Logano like in a tough situation. You see things like that happening in front of you, and you're just wondering, is that piece going to break off, come through my grill, go through into a tire, something like that? Not it's an uncomfortable position to be in at these speeds.
Update from the 33 pit, Jamie.
And the team, well, you just heard it right there. The team's all looking at our coverage saying, we don't know what it is. We thought it was a side skirt. So they're definitely keeping an eye on it. And on top of that, guys, on that first stop that they made, they did not get the car full in the 33. So we'll keep an eye on that.
Ouch. And NASCAR officials are taking a look at the sparks from behind the 33 as well and trying to determine if that's something that poses a safety problem and needs to be addressed, or if it's okay and they can leave Kevin like he is. We talked about being uncomfortable looking ahead from Joey Logano's car. Well, Joey noticed.
What's he dragging in front of him? It's a bar that hooks to his housing. It's hanging. I got you. Like a reinforcement bar. I see. Is that for?
Yeah, it's that reinforced, just a brace that supports that rear trailing arm where the track bar hooks. And what the real problem for Kevin might be later in the race, where that thing is not hooked up, it'll actually work that trailing arm to a point where it could break. It's a stiffening brace. Doesn't seem to be affecting the handling of the car too much. I mean, he's still right there in the second spot.
There's one way for it to not be a problem for Logano anymore.
Yeah,
yes, that's exactly right. Joey's going to take care of that matter himself.
One thing that the 33 team needs to be watching for now is if they see that left rear tire start to smoke, they'll know that that thing is starting to deflect more and more and could be a problem. So far, so good. We just still see the sparks.
So Logano to second, Harvick back to third, ahead of Austin Dillon and Kyle Busch, who run fourth and fifth. All that behind Sam Hornish Jr., the race leader, just shy of halfway. Caution is just waved in the Dollar General 300. Jamie Dick has spun off of turn number 2. A very harrowing moment for the youngster. And you can see the left side of that car wrinkled in. It could have been even worse. Oh, wow.
This is where it almost got bad.
Oh, boy, that was close.
What a hard hit that was, that inside wall. Wow.
Those are the hardest ones, too, right on that driver's side, flat.
And just shy of where the safer barrier begins.
Yes. You see a nice job of driving here. A couple of cars coming up on him very quickly.
Jamie running 25th, a lap down at the time of the crash. Good to see him getting out of that car. That was a nasty little hit on the left side. Pit road's going to be open here. Hornish, Logano, Harvick, Dillon, and Kyle Busch, the top 5. Kevin Harvick's crew a chance to look at that brace that's been showering sparks out from underneath the 33 cars and see if they take the time to do anything about it or not. Jamie?
And they all make their way down pit road. Said they're all in their window here as you see Joey Logano in the 22. Following his teammate Sam Hornish Jr. in the 12. Now, ironically, these crew chiefs are making the exact same adjustments on the car. The feedback has been similar. They're going to go down on the track bar 1 round on both cars. Air pressure adjustment, fill it up. Meanwhile, the 33 of Kevin Harvick, they'll take a look in the back end of that car. There's the chassis adjustment for him, and this is good news because he didn't get enough fuel on the first stop. Vince?
3 of Austin Dillon put on scuffs the first stop, and Dillon's a little bit too tight on exit. Stickers this time, no other adjustments. They think that'll free him up as they race off pit road.
Little strategy session going on here. Yep.
A couple guys taking 2 tires, and looked like Austin Dillon had a slow stop. He lost 6 spots.
So Matt Kenseth started 15th. Raced his way up to just outside the top 5, and his crew chief making a move to try and get him up to the number 1 spot.
Just shy of halfway at the home race, looking at downtown Charlotte. We're just a bit away from there at Charlotte Motor Speedway. 92 laps complete with a bit of strategy playing out amongst our top 2. Matt Kenseth leading the way, followed by Trevor Bayne. They took 2 tires on the last pit stop. Welcome inside the Quicken Loans ESPN Pit Studio. I'm Nicole with Rusty, Brad, and Ray. Not surprising that our pole sitter to start the night was Kyle Busch. Surprising only in that this is his first ever pole at this particular track. What is surprising, though, the rest of the night, he's really not been a factor, Rusty. At this point in time, he's only 5th.
Yeah, I mean, 5th is pretty good for most people, but not for Kyle Busch. And mostly he's been complaining about a loose car that's kind of sliding the front end at times, so the car is not nailed on the racetrack good like it normally is.
Yeah, what really surprised me is after the first initial pit stop, the car seemed to get even worse, so Kyle Busch is having a tough time tonight.
Well, this track changes, and you heard Dale Jarrett say it earlier that you know, the qualifying on the pole was largely his talent. Another guy that's had problems tonight with a really fast car has had pit stop issues is the 22.
Pit stop issues, but they're coming to green, Alan.
Matt Kenseth now the leader, Nicole. Trevor Bayne to his outside. They just took right side tires on the pit stops.
Logano, who started on the inside for the first time finally tonight, was able to make a little bit of headway starting there. Sam Hornish, who was on the outside there, not able to go. Of course, he's got Trevor Bayne right in front of him.
And Trevor showing that it might just not have been Joey Logano having trouble getting going from that first spot outside lane.
Got a big run there off of turn 2.
Through for 3rd place. Logano, hang on to that one.
It looks like Kyle Busch's car a little bit better this run. Made an adjustment that made him better.
So Kyle running 5th, working on Trevor Bayne for 4th. Catch up on some things. Free pass at the caution was Mike Bliss. Wave arounds to get back on the lead lap, taken by James Busher, Chad Hockenbraugh, Mike Wallace, Johanna Long, Joe Nemechek, Landon Castle, and Eric McClure. All those getting back on the lead lap. And Austin Dillon, the tough pit stop, dropped him down to the 11th position, while Sam Hornish runs in 3rd. Not discussed much yet tonight, continuing to claw his way a little bit at a time toward the front. Brian Scott in the 2. also on a weekend where he makes his NASCAR Sprint Cup Series debut tomorrow.
Yeah, Brian, this team has been doing a nice job here recently. See Kyle Larson trying to make his way around Regan Smith.
Been racing him all night. We've traded spots quite a few times.
And there's Austin Dillon, championship leader, starting the night. Had a tough stop on pit road. Gave up 6 positions plus the 2 to the guys that changed just the 2 tires. Vince, what happened?
Well, just a slow stop overall, and it was interesting because after that pit stop, Austin Dillon came on the radio to his crew chief, Danny Stockman, and he said, what happened there? And Danny said, we've got it out of our system unless you want a better explanation. And Austin said, nope, I think that's good enough. I asked Danny, where was the specific issue? He said, I don't want to talk about it. We've got it out of our system. So they're hoping they got it out of their system, Al.
Yeah. Bad pit stop-itis is not something you want to hang in your system for long when you're trying to win a championship. For the lead, Kevin Harvick, Matt Kenseth, 33-18.
Yeah, Matt Kenseth is kind of proving how much track position is probably worth more than tires, because we saw Austin Dillon. He was actually in front of Matt Kenseth when he made the stop, took the 4 tires, and Matt's been able to hold on to the lead here for quite a few laps.
Yeah, if that's Matt Kenseth is one thing. I'm not sure that strategy will work for everybody, but you got that talent. Doesn't look like Kevin Harvick and his team were too concerned. Well, Kevin probably doesn't even know he's got a problem back there with something dragging, but you can still see it. So, and they had a fast pit stop, so that wasn't something they were going to take the time to be concerned about.
I do still see some sparks coming from whatever is dragging underneath the 33.
And if I'm all these other guys, I'm concerned that 54 team's made some adjustments to bring Kyle Busch's car to life, because where he'd faded back off the leaders in the first couple of runs of the race, he's reeling them in now.
They got him and the 22 that look like they've both made adjustments that have helped their race car, and they have been by far the 2 strongest teams.
Here's 3rd place.
And they made a real good adjustment on this 54, because he was nowhere near this good till now.
Kyle through to 3rd. And looking like that car's come to life, Vince.
You know, crew chief Adam Stevens told me before the race his big fear was that the car would be too tight and Kyle wouldn't be able to get back to the gas the way he wanted, but it's been just the opposite. It's been too loose tonight and prohibiting Kyle from getting to the gas when he wants. So they have tightened it up with air pressure and a track bar adjustment on that last stop. Much better, as you guys have noted this time.
So Kyle up to 3rd, with Hornish and Logano behind him, and Harvick and Kenseth ahead of him.
Yeah, I'm really seeing Kyle Busch now do what we see him do at a lot of these fast racetracks, and that's carry a lot of speed through the corner, through the center of the corner there, and then that translates. He gets back to the gas as good as anyone, and you can see the run that he gets down the straightaway then.
One of the things he is so good at, though, is diagnosing what's wrong with his car, helping the crew chief make decisions on how to fix it, and getting there quickly, and they've done that here. You know, the first run, he misdiagnosed it a little bit.
Yeah.
But he caught on to it really quickly, got that information to his crew chief, so they were able to make this change on this stop, and now look, he's going to be closing in on these guys for the lead for long.
He's somebody else he has to pass for the lead. Kevin Harvick around Kenseth. So Kevin back to the #1 spot, and Jamie, they certainly didn't take any time on that pit stop to do much of anything but give a passing glance to whatever's throwing those sparks behind that car.
They didn't. Believe it or not, they actually made a chassis adjustment. They got the track bar up just a little bit, put 4 tires on it, and they told Kevin on the radio it's a strut rod on the back that's dragging. It's not a big deal. We're not concerned about it. Let's keep business as usual. That's good news for our leader right now, Alan.
Yeah, and I think that's the rod, exactly what you were talking about, right, Andy?
It looks like it.
It's a rod that they make. Yeah.
It's a stiffening brace that goes over to that trailing arm. It's because that track bar is a lateral support rod for the rear suspension, and so that you see all this lateral loads they put in these cars, and that's just to help take some of that load and to stiffen that part of the car up. like I said, Harvick has no idea that it's dragging. He won't feel that, more than likely, because it's not really hooked to the chassis or the body of the car. It's hooked to the suspension part.
There's your top 5. With Kevin Harvick now out in front of this race. We've just crossed the midway point tonight. Kevin trying to score a win here. Never done that in the Nationwide Series at Charlotte. Turn 2 has proved to be trouble again. At Charlotte Motor Speedway, Eric McClure has just spun and crashed off of that corner and brings out the 4th caution of the night. McClure, one of the drivers that took the wave around to get it back on the lead lap, so didn't pit and change tires under that last caution.
Well, something happened there.
Yeah, it has the making of a tire going down right there.
And look at this.
Oh boy, you can see some fast cars bearing down right there.
Nice job by everybody to avoid.
And as a driver, there's not many worse feelings than sitting there and knowing that others are coming at you at 150 miles an hour.
And your driver's side door
Yes.
facing them.
Yeah, right here.
Matt Kenseth did a nice job. Watch the 18 car. There he goes. So pit road's open, and here they come. Dave?
It'll be fuel only, and the call was made only if the guys in front of you pit. So Matt's car on that run, just a little bit tight on the high side. Actually loosen it off on the high side. Jamie?
Joey Logano in the 22. They're going to make another track bar adjustment. They were slow on the last stop, cost them 5 positions. Are they going to take their time? No tires there. Kevin Harvick, meanwhile, continues to change tires on the right side. Vince?
Fuel only for Kyle Busch and a little bit of tape on the grill. He'll be the first one off pit lane.
And interesting here that the championship contender, Sam Hornish, stopped and took 4 tires there. That's him in the blue car, just leaving pit road now. A couple of guys did not pit. Actually, 4 stayed on the racetrack among lead lap cars. So we're going to have a new leader and a shuffle of track position again, with still a lot of racing left to go in this one. So a real shuffle of strategies here. Update first on Sam Hornish, who's led the most laps tonight, Jamie, but now finds himself a little further back in traffic.
Well, right before the caution came out, Sam told his team, guys, something's wrong. I went from tight literally to loose, and it never gave up. I think something's wrong with one of the tires. So they said, we can't take a chance. Let's put 4 on it. Well, they just got the tire reading back, and nothing was wrong with any of the tires.
Yeah, it still could have been a set of tires, though, that were freer in some way. And I think they made the right call by taking them off.
So Greg Irwin there, making the call for Sam Hornish, and Sam finds himself back in 12th position. Austin Dillon is in 7th. Up front, top 4, Regan Smith, Alex Bowman, Nelson Piquet Jr., and Brad Sweet did not pit under the caution. Fuel only. Getting Kyle Busch and Joey Logano and Austin Dillon some track position. Then Kevin Harvick, the first who changed some tires. He's back in 8th position after taking just 2 tires on that 33 car. And this has really mixed up the running order. This should be kind of interesting.
Be quite exciting here on this restart.
Was close.
Yeah, that's where it really gets dicey whenever a car goes up on that outside. He can literally suck the car in front of you right around without ever touching it.
And this is where, if you're Sam Hornish's team and you've made the decision to take the 4 tires and give up some track position, you're nervous about all this, running around these people with all different kind of car conditions.
Yeah, it's certainly a difficult spot that you get yourself in. Could be something, a strategy that ends up working out for them later on, depending on how this plays out, though. But you got to get through this part first.
Brad Sweet in the 5, Kevin Swindell in the 98.
Yeah, Kevin Swindell once again doing a nice job with that race car. You know, doesn't have a lot of experience in these, but every time he gets in them, does a really solid effort.
I'll tell you who's doing a good job right now. This 32 car, Kyle Larson, is making that outside groove work real well. I think we haven't seen the last of him tonight.
And how about Joey Logano going 3 wide on the start and being in a hurry through 1 and 2 to make up as much track position as he could, as quickly as he could. It's pretty bold.
Yeah, and I think he understood the situation there, too. He was ready to get up there. He knew he couldn't mess around back there long, just in case something happened.
I see Joey Logano now going all the way up to the top.
And he learned that from right before that last caution came out, because he was getting ready to get passed by this 32 car who had gone to the top in that last run and worked his way all the way up into the top 5, was getting ready to take over that 4th spot from Logano.
Side by side for 5th, Austin Dillon and Kyle Larson.
Yeah, see, Larson is one of the few guys that can make the top work in 1 and 2.
Yeah, and especially on the fresher tires, he's able to do that. I think that's a strategy that will really be good for him as these tires get some more laps on. You see, a little slide job. Probably got a little break from Logano there, but that's Logano being smart and understanding. So he does all that, passes him up on the high side, and then goes to the bottom when he gets back down there at that time. But
and still old Sparky.
Yeah, back there. Harvick has 2 right side tires from that last pit stop. So does Kyle Larson. He took right sides. Dillon just took fuel.
Austin Dillon making his way back towards the front after he lost some of that track position the previous stop. A little slow on pit road with things, but working out for him now.
They got it out of their system?
Apparently. He hopes they do anyway.
Well, they didn't change tires.
I was going to say, he didn't take a chance that time. They just put fuel in.
And how about Regan Smith? Has had a difficult time. Remember, had a 58-point lead in this championship at one point in this 7 car. Had back-to-back disastrous races. It all went away. They've really kind of struggled to regain that momentum over the last, I don't know, month and a half or so. And Regan finds himself a ways back in 3rd in the championship, but refusing, absolutely refusing to concede any ground that they're out of it in any way. And I don't blame him.
Well, that's the right mindset. You know somebody like that in your race car that's not giving up no matter what.
Yeah, they know that they were solid earlier in this year and performed very well on this type of track.
I see this 99 car, Alex Bowman, his car is sparking almost in the identical spot that we saw the 33 of Harvick.
Bowman stayed out there doing a nice job in this car, too.
You see the sparks coming out of his car, identical.
Have a friend?
I believe Kyle Larson's going to be able to drive all the way to the lead on this cycle. He's got right side tires. He's passed everybody else that didn't take tires and just took fuel.
It looked like whenever he was trying to pass Kyle Busch at Bristol for the win back in early part of the season.
Used all the racetrack and then a little bit that wasn't even there.
Yeah, he used up a little of that right side.
Yeah, this is fun watching him use it. We haven't seen this groove be used since this track was repaved, because the bottom had so much grip and it was so fast that you just couldn't get enough speed around the top. But this is great seeing it, kind of old school here and fun to watch this. Guarantee you there are a lot of the Cup drivers paying attention to this sitting in their motorhomes tonight or at home, if the case may be, seeing exactly how Kyle Larson's making this work.
We saw a lot of that in Sprint Cup final practice earlier. Guys running a lot of different lanes around the racetrack. Maybe something we'll see tomorrow night. Right now, that 32 is making maximum use of all the pavement, Jamie.
Well, and Kyle Larson's one of those Cup drivers as well, making his debut in the Cup Series this weekend. So that extra seat time is really helping him. I talked to him before he got in this car, and he said the tale of 2 days. Yesterday, we were horrible in this 32 car. He said we couldn't find speed. They adjusted on it. They qualified 8th tonight. He was surprised by that. And now the latest update on his car, darn near perfect is what we're hearing. His boss man, Chip Ganassi, out here sitting on the box. We never see him in the Nationwide Series. He is the owner of the car 42 next year that Kyle Larson will be racing. So he's loving the action he's seeing on the track right now, Alan.
And why not?
Yeah. And Regan Smith in the lead has looked in his mirror, and he's taken to the top of the racetrack.
That means his spotter's doing his job.
Yes.
So there's second, Kyle Larson. And there's first, Regan Smith. 1.1 seconds between them. The NASCAR Nationwide Series Dollar General 300 at Charlotte Motor Speedway ongoing. NASCAR celebrates Hispanic Heritage Month through a series of video shorts featuring the stories of Latinos in NASCAR. Visit viva.nascar.com for more. Tightening up front. Kyle Larson running down Regan Smith.
And look how many of the top cars now are running that upper groove. It's kind of hard to hide that, isn't it?
Word spreads in a hurry. Yes.
Yes.
While Larson tries to track him down, let's get updates on all of these front runners as we go up to speed with Nationwide Insurance. Doc?
Well, Regan Smith's crew chief, Greg Ives, is a Chad Knaus disciple, so he learned from the best. And when his driver said, hey, I'm really loose behind cars on entry in tight landings, he said, we'll just leave you out so you won't be behind any cars on entry. Well, that fixed that problem, but now they've tried to move their driver up higher on the racetrack to run the same groove that the young Larson's running behind him. It's working. The only problem is it's working better for Kyle Larson. Jamie.
And Kyle Larson, the 21-year-old with the target on the hood, making his way to the front, says the car still is perfect. He's quiet on the radio. They took right sides only on that last stop, and it was just what the car asked for. Vince?
Third place is the 54 of Kyle Busch, who dominated this race in May, led 186 laps. Now, this is the same car they drove to victory in May. He led the first 6 laps of this race, but ever since then, they have been battling to try to find a handle on it. It's still a little too free for Kyle. Jamie.
Kevin Harvick in the 33 behind him, your Sprint Cup Series winner from last week at Kansas. On the last stop, they took right sides only. Now, all of a sudden, the handling has gone away. Kevin's saying this car is just horrible now. We're sliding all around. Vince?
The 3 of Austin Dillon came into this race as the points leaders, had a pretty solid day. They had a bad pit stop, but he's making his way back through the field. As you see, running as high as first, led some laps in this one. Currently running in the number 5 spot, says it's just turning a little too good right now, Doc.
And back behind him, 20-year-old rookie Alex Bowman. What an impressive young man. He has been top finishing rookie 2 of the last 3 races, including a 5th and 11th on mile-and-a-half tracks. Now trying to track to the inside of the 3 car. Can't get the spot. He said, you know, I'm racing for my future. I'm a free agent. I got nothing for next year, so I got to prove I belong here, trying to prove it here tonight. Jamie.
Joey Logano, the winner of this race 1 year ago in the 22 car. Car was good earlier in this race. He led 18 laps, but now they didn't take tires on the last stop, and he's just saying he can't move around, can't gain any ground. You see wide open space up ahead, and he can't make that move, can't get that car where it was. Meanwhile, his teammate Sam Hornish Jr. behind him running that high line. He saw Kyle Larson do it, but he's moving around trying to get this car better. Remember, they were the only ones to take 4 tires on that last stop, and he's saying, I don't know what to tell you guys. Our car is just loose. Dave?
Justin Allgaier in the 31 was a right side tire taker on the last stop. Most of the night, his car has been lacking grip front and rear, but he's been picking up positions since the last restart. Picked up 2, gotten himself into the top 10.
The race leader, Regan Smith, heads for the pit lane with 60 laps to go. Remember, he did not pit under that last caution when all the other front runners, almost all of them did, Doc.
And they wanted to wait for 7 more laps, but Regan said, hey, we're overheating, engine temperature way up there. So Greg Ives said, come on now, we can barely make it. It's going to be close on fuel. Front end, cleaning the grill, 4 tires, but he was hot, so he had to come.
We'll be looking for that 99 car of Alex Bowman. He was the other car that stayed out under that last caution.
Yeah, Bowman, Nelson Piquet, and Brad Sweet, the other three. Justin Allgaier trying to take 7th spot from Joey Logano and does so. Allgaier got a free pass earlier in the race, got a lap down, and has come back and is picking his way up through the top 10.
Made some good adjustments on that thing, though, because he had his hands full earlier.
Yeah. So Kyle Larson is now out in front of Kyle Busch, leading this race with 57 to go. .52 about to be 51 laps to go for Kyle Larson, the youngster from Northern California. 9th in the NASCAR Nationwide Series Championship, yet to win a race this year. He's come close several times. In fact, he's finished second in the 2 closest finishes of the season. But look at the gap he has, and could this be the night that breakthrough win happens here in Charlotte? He's got Kyle Busch behind him by 3¼ seconds, and Kyle turning some pretty quick laps right now. Kyle Busch is trying to rein in Kyle Larson.
Yeah, there's a lot of racing left for Kyle Larson. He has the lead. He's the one that started this high line. Everybody else kind of caught up to it. So everybody's running about the same laps. And at this point, like you said, even last lap, Kyle Busch was about 1/4 second quicker.
Yeah, a lot of drivers find out when they get in those Cup cars for the first time and go around places. And he's doing well in the Cup car, too. But you find out that you can actually go hustle these things a little bit better. They actually will end up feeling a little better to you, and you get a little bit more out of it, and he's making this work. First one to go to that top side, though. He's led the charge up there.
And again, I think it's because of the Cup Series practice. He was up there that whole happy hour practice in that high lane with the Sprint Cup car.
Alex Bowman's in, Doc.
He gives up 5th position to make his final stop of the night, hoping for a top 10, maybe a top 5. Had a good race car, 4 tires, air pressure only, a little loose on exit, waiting to get it full of fuel down and away. Final stop.
Nelson Piquet also coming in, and Brad Sweet was in a couple laps ago. So the guys who did not pit under the caution earlier to get some track position, they've all been in under the green here.
Now, one thing I saw on that 99 car was the left rear tire looked like it was shined up on the outside sidewall where that brace, we saw it sparking. This brace that goes to that trailing arm could be letting that rear end flex a little bit into that sheet metal on the left rear.
Justin Allgaier.
It seemed like these Turner cars really struggled in practice. And then this race started, and here they go.
31 didn't go then, but he's coming now. I don't know if it was moving up the track. He struggled at first, but you're right. They make good adjustments on these things, and they are going now. Justin Allgaier was doing everything but wrecking earlier in this race. They're making some good adjustments.
Now he's back in the top 5.
Yeah. Really cool to see the nationwide regulars running up front here, battling all of these guys, these regular Cup guys, and making it fun to watch. But Justin Allgaier doing a great job in here, Dave.
And he solved a problem earlier tonight. There was radio communication to Justin that said, "Sure glad you guys had that talk, aren't you?" When he ran side by side with Trevor Bayne early on in the race, they never touched. They gave each other a lot of room. And I checked with the team. He had a conversation on the side with Trevor this week about racing each other too hard and causing both to have bad nights. They got over that. It's one of the things that has kept Justin in this race.
We're talking about the 31, but I was watching the 12 sideways right there.
Sam Hornish running in 6th. Austin Dillon running in 4th. Kyle Larson running in 1st. 45 to go. Another round of pit stops for these leaders yet to be made. Caution out. Jeffrey Earnhardt losing an engine in the 79 car, putting some oil down on the track. Pit road is open for what could be the final stops. Kyle Larson leading the field in. Jamie?
And Kyle Larson, the call right now is no adjustments. The car has been that good. Trent Owens on the box making the call. Chip Ganassi watching on. So 4 tires here. Said be very careful. Let's get it done, guys. They'll pack them full of fuel. Meanwhile, the 33 of Kevin Harvick, 2 free on throttle in the corner. Track bar down and 4 tires. They'll fill him up as well, Vince.
Still working on the balance of that 3 car for Austin Dillon. A wedge adjustment, 4 tires, air pressure, Sunoco fuel for Kyle Busch. A quick stop for Busch. It's a loose in condition. Small adjustment there. Great stop for Kyle.
Slow on the right front for Kyle Larson.
I had a lot of trouble on that right front.
So Kyle Busch will be first off the pit lane. And there's Kyle Larson, 5th in line. Caution out. A little less than a quarter of the race to go. Just a little ways to the north and east of Uptown sits Charlotte Motor Speedway, where tonight the NASCAR Nationwide Series is running 300 miles, and tomorrow race 5 in the chase, the Bank of America 500 on ABC at 7 Eastern time. Picture in this one has changed. After the caution came out, erasing Kyle Larson's lead, went down the pit lane in the number 1 spot and is going to take this restart in the number 5 position.
See, everything's going pretty smooth. Got the exchange on the right front. And here's where it goes wrong. The tire carrier's having a real hard time getting indexed up on the wheel studs.
And then the adventure's not over.
Yeah, put him in a tight spot here with his teammate, Justin Allgaier. See how close this was. Allgaier had to get the right sides out in the grass.
There you go.
He actually made contact with another car, Allgaier did, as he pulled out.
Don't knock the cone over.
Nope.
And so Allgaier finds himself in 6th. Larson now in 5th. And Kyle Busch, the race leader.
Yeah, you can see the difference there. 4 seconds almost pit stop at 3.5 seconds. Lucky he didn't lose any more spots than he did.
Yeah, and even though you got a really good race car, you can't be spotting Kyle Busch any positions or anything like that to get him out front.
So a lot of oil to be cleaned up around the racetrack. You can see all the cloud of oil dry still being worked on by the track safety crews. Give us a minute to talk with our ESPN in-race reporter Trevor Bayne, who's up to 4th place, TJ.
Hey, Trevor, Dale Jarrett, you have a copy?
Yes, sir, I got you.
Well, it's been a pretty interesting, exciting race out there, but it looked like you've got yourself in a good position as the laps wind down here towards the end.
I mean, my pit crew just did a great job there. Picked us up 4 or 5 spots in the pits, which is really tough when you're battling teams like we are. We're sitting here in 4th. We've got a good start spot here on the outside. That's what we want, and Mike's making good adjustments. We've just been way too free on these short runs, and this Cargill Mustang just can't get going. And then, you know, later in the run, we can make ground again. Hopefully we got it tightened up enough here where I can make some hay while we got fresh tires and get some clean air.
Hey, we've seen the groove move up quite a bit, some right up next to the wall. You liking that?
Yeah, that's where I've had to go with my car being so free, which is a little sketchy on entry, but it gives me so much better forward drive, so that's been a good place for us. But at the beginning with new tires, you just got to stay to that bottom because you're so close to wide open, it just makes a lot more speed.
Okay, thanks for talking. Good luck in these last 40.
Yes, sir. Thank you. 38 to go.
To be specific, Mike Kelly, yes. 38 to go here. Field doubling up for the restart. Interesting picture where the championships are concerned. On the front row, the team leading the team championship and the driver leading the driver's championship. Austin Dillon leading Sam Hornish. Entering the day, Austin running 2nd, Sam running 3rd. And where the team championship is concerned, Kyle Busch, Joe Gibbs Racing trailing Roger Penske's 22 starting the day. Kyle leading this race now. Joey Logano finds himself back in 9th for this restart, which is about as deep in the field as he's been all night.
Yeah, it really looks like the 12 and the 22 have kind of lost the handle on this thing as this race has gone on. Some kind of good adjustments they might have made for their drivers here, though.
Yeah, we saw the 54 not have the handle at all in the beginning of the race, but then made great adjustments to get their car back in a very competitive mode.
And these adjustments key because you probably just made your last trip to pit road for the race.
Probably it. I hope it's the right ones.
38 laps to go. Watch Larson running around the outside in the 32. Look at him go.
He's really the only one we've seen on fresh tires be able to make this kind of speed up on the top.
Got a big run on Dillon now.
Just incredible the speed that he's getting out of this race car.
Up to third after falling from first to fifth on the pit stop. Sam Hornish getting around Austin Dillon there in a determined drive to be ahead of his rival for the championship by 2 places at the moment. So here comes Larson.
Yeah, Hornish moved up down there. I don't know if that's the best thing for him. That's really not where his car's been the best, but he's trying to stop the progress of this 32. Not sure he can do that.
Austin Dillon hanging right in there. Keeping that bottom lane, which has been kind of his place to run all night, and seeing if he can find a way to get a run on Larson and pick a spot back up.
Let's see if Larson can get his rhythm back here. I think when he got up by when Sam Hornish pulled up there, it kind of slowed him down, didn't get the air to the car like he was wanting to. Now he's got a little bit of distance, see if he can get that back going.
Updates at the restart. The guys that had pitted under the green and then got trapped by that yellow, Regan Smith, Brad Sweet, Nelson Piquet, and Alex Bowman all took waiver rounds to get back on the lead lap. Mike Wallace got the free pass at the caution. There are 23 on the lead lap at the moment.
Yeah, really kind of unfortunate for Alex Bowman in particular in that situation. He had a really, really solid top 10 run going and had to get to pit road.
Kevin Harvick, 33, running in 5th. Joey Logano, 22. Trevor Bayne, 6. All in the mix for that spot. Logano able to hold off Bayne for that spot after Trevor had a big run on him. Nice drive tonight, though, by Trevor and this 6 team. They've been solid.
Yeah, they've done a nice job. Looked like they're maybe early on they had a little bit of an issue with the handling of the car, a little bit on the free side. But they've gotten it a lot better.
Yeah, Kyle Larson just had a moment off of turn 4. I believe this 3 car of Austin Dillon's a better race car, but it's just hard to make this pass on Larson because he's just using that outside lane. Looks like he's going to get it now, though.
So Dillon to 3rd with Hornish running 2nd.
Larson made that big charge right on the restart, but then it just stalled out on him.
And Kyle Busch leading the race. There's the gap.
Yeah, it looks like Hornish has got his car back under control, too. Really saw him really sliding around last time. And, Jamie, they've made a good adjustment this time for Sam Hornish.
Well, they did, DJ. They made a track bar adjustment again in air pressure to help him. He was so free, but they also only put 1 can of fuel in to lighten the car and help him get some track position there. They nailed the pit stop, but now his crew chief, Greg Irwin, is just telling him, remember that discipline we talked about, discipline. He keeps repeating the word, telling Sam Hornish to keep his head in the game.
Well, with all the pressure of the championship and Sam's situation being uncertain for the future and the way that things have gone for them with good finishes getting away late in the race the last couple of weeks, you got to finish it off. You got to run it all the way to lap 200 tonight to get that result.
Yeah, they had that opportunity right here with just a solid run with these last 28 laps of staying in front of the 3 car. Might not be a big points night, but it will be in front of the 3. They will gain a little bit, and that's what you have to do.
Yeah, but I don't think Sam Hornish is finished. I think he wants to win this race. Last time he won was at Las Vegas. He passed Kyle Busch with 6 laps to go.
Remember, Matt Kenseth was leading this race earlier. Went down pit road. Strategy, they went for fuel only, but others stayed on the racetrack. And Matt got shuffled back in that run and really has never regained his track position.
Sometimes you do that, you throw yourself off, you're not exactly sure of adjustments that you have to make because you're given information about what the car is doing there when you've left tires on it and put fuel in it, and you can fall behind in a hurry. See Larson coming back on this high side now. Yeah, just whenever it really starts working is whenever they get some laps on the tires, and those cars that are running the bottom are starting to lose a little bit of their grip and that advantage they have down there.
Yeah, I just haven't noticed the lap times, and all of a sudden he was a couple of tenths faster than everybody.
And I think that's why. That's a smart young man. You know, he knew that Austin Dillon was there. He knew when his car was starting to come in, it took 10 or 12 laps. And so he was able to give that spot up, knowing that this was going to come back to him.
Now, does he have enough time? There's 26 to go. Does he have enough time to catch Kyle Busch and Sam Horner?
He's got plenty enough time. It's just a matter that whenever he gets there, are they going to move up and stop his progress?
While you're watching this race for third, I'm watching Sam Hornish close in on Kyle Busch. Remember, in Sam's only win this season at Las Vegas, he passed Kyle Busch with 6 laps to go to score the win. He's closing on him with 25 to go at Charlotte Motor Speedway tonight. He didn't wait till 6 to go this time to pass Kyle Busch. Sam Hornish out in front of Kyle Busch. There is the new picture in the lead, and coming quickly and racing for third all at the same time, Austin Dillon in the 3 and Kyle Larson in the 32.
Austin Dillon had actually taken that third spot away from Kyle Larson, as it looks like he may once again, but they ran up on a slow car or a lap car. That's what you like to see. The guys battling for a championship up here racing like this at the front, racing to win.
How it went down that Hornish went by Kyle Busch just like this.
Started to see Kyle Busch slip around a little bit. He moved up to the high side, thinking that might kind of take care of it, but then Sam moves down to the bottom, takes the spot.
So Sam working on a max points night. He has led the most laps in this race. If he can win,
Larson's in the wall of 4.
Yeah, he hit it pretty good too. Part of the bumper off. Spoiler, deck lids all dislodged. He hit it pretty good.
Yeah, he makes speed up there. That's the big downside to running up there. There's not much room for error.
Yeah, look at that spoiler hanging off it like that.
Yeah. If he tries to go hard right there, he's going to be in more trouble.
Well, Kyle Larson going to make his NASCAR Sprint Cup Series debut tomorrow night for Harry Scott Racing, but obviously driving for Chip Ganassi going forward.
Knocked down on the right.
And high expectations for the young man. Chip answering the questions, are we rushing into the Cup? I don't know. He said, I've taken bigger risks before, and they've paid off. Austin Dillon racing Kyle Busch for second. Lap traffic ahead.
Going to be key. Can he catch into this traffic, get out of the way? No, it's not getting out of the way.
Robert Richardson in the 23. And back to the battle they go.
Yeah, that's twice that Austin Dillon's come up on the car, and he's being careful, realizing the situation that he is in.
Yeah.
But just catching the lap traffic at the wrong spot, and it seemed like as he was trying to not only take the second spot away, but trying to gain some on Hornish to try to get there and battle for the race win, progress got impeded once again.
You know, DJ, you talked about it briefly a second ago. I want to go back to the subject of Nationwide Series championship eligible drivers competing for the win. This has been, no question, a Cup driver dominated season, particularly Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski, Joey Logano. They've dominated the wins over the summer, especially in fall. But now in the throes of that championship at a tricky track, and particularly for Austin Dillon, at a track that hasn't given him the best of results, What a show they're putting on tonight.
Yeah, they really are. Austin Dillon's impressing me with what he's doing here tonight, because this is a tough racetrack. You know, you expect the 22 and the 54 to really come here and dominate. You got Harvick in the field, even though he's running fourth right there. Those guys are there, but they're outrunning them. But Sam Hornish coming back from 2 17th place finishes. This team to rally around and regroup and say, we're going to go attack this. Very impressive by these two championship contenders.
And we talked about what might be going on inside the helmets of each of these guys earlier in the night. Well, what's going on is confidence building and statement making. We're racing to win this championship and win.
Yeah.
Matt Kenseth, Joey Logano. That is for 5th place. By way of team championship perspective, that's a Joe Gibbs Racing car passing Roger Penske's 22. Another point in the tally. There were only 5 between them at the start of the night to the favor of the 22.
Yeah, it's kind of wild the way things sit right now. We have 2-point difference in the Drivers' Championship, and we have a 1-point difference in the Owners' Championship. So right down to the wire these will go. Austin Dillon desperately wants this. He knows that point right there is important. He'd really like to have it. I think he thinks if he could get by Kyle Busch right here, he could have a run at Sam Hornish.
Oh, he can still see that blue car right ahead of he can catch him for sure.
10 to go.
And actually, Kyle Busch is starting to reel Sam Hornish back in a little bit.
Well, this thing could get really good.
A big run that Kyle Busch got off that second corner. He's moved up there. Takes a few laps to get yourself adjusted to there, exactly what your car would do, how much can you trust it, and make that run.
And Austin Dillon's car is about the best car I've seen on the bottom of the racetrack.
Yeah.
You just see Sam searching everywhere, looking for grip.
This is going to be a long 9 laps for Sam Hornish.
Yeah, looks like that car's starting to give up just a little bit on Sam. He's just not able to attack it from the center of the corner out like he was. That's where he was really strong and made the pass on Kyle Busch earlier.
Lap traffic ahead. Kyle Busch trying to flank him. Side by side for the lead. Traffic ahead. 8 laps to go.
And all depends on where this traffic goes. It's going to get tight right here.
New leader, Kyle Busch. And now the title twosome racing for 2nd place. It's a big weekend for Kyle and Samantha. Their race team supporting a charity from North Carolina that supports women who are underinsured or uninsured and going through breast cancer treatments.
Yeah, they made a big effort to help out with this cause. Got their sponsor involved to help and change the paint scheme on this car a little bit. And you have to applaud Kyle and Samantha for the work that they're doing there.
And for 2nd place, Austin Dillon working on his rival for the title, Sam Hornish.
Well, that 3 car works really good down there on the bottom of the racetrack. See if he's going to be able, I believe we'll get the 12 cleared here and take that 2nd spot. Not sure he's going to have enough time to get to that 54, though.
I'm not sure he has enough car either. That 54 is strong right now.
Isn't it something how Kyle was leading early in the run, then faded back, and Sam drove by him, and now as we get down to these late laps, Kyle's car comes back alive again, and Sam is sliding around there, just trying to hang on to it.
Yeah, a lot of that's Kyle Busch searching around and finding another way to figure out where his race car would go, and that's, you know, he doesn't get enough credit. You know, we talk about the driving talents that he has, but that's where you have to think as a driver and search around and be willing to do that. This 3 car may not be finished with this race, though, right now.
Hasn't won yet this season. Would very much like to change that. 3 laps to go. Another one of those races that we've seen so much of this year, particularly on the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series side, but the ups and downs of the night, the yo-yo races, driver's track position, getting shuffled up and down, and the crew chiefs working it. And in this case, the drivers also working it to have a shot at the end.
Yeah, really fun to see these guys on the racetrack, though, passing for position, passing for the lead for second, making it all happen on the track.
They've been chasing it all night. The driver's been chasing the line all night. The crew chief's been chasing the track and how it's changing. Boy, they're wheeling them right now.
Now, if you're going to beat Kyle Busch at Charlotte, you're going to have something not just good, but something extraordinary. Because Kyle is phenomenal at this racetrack.
White flag, 1 more, still by.
And as he enters the last lap, Kyle looking for what would be his 8th Nationwide Series win here at this speedway. That's just incredible.
Yeah, it really is. Outstanding he is.
25 races in the Nationwide Series here since the drivers started on the pole and went to victory lane. Kyle Busch is going to break that streak tonight. He's going to sweep the season at Charlotte. Kyle Busch wins it. Austin Dillon finishes second. Sam Hornish third. Basically a draw on the championship tonight, sending them into the 2 off weeks and the final 3 races of the season with a lot for them to think about and for us to enjoy.
Well, I didn't think this was going to happen when we saw the first of this race. That car was all over.
Great job battling there, A-Team. We fought this thing this weekend.
Team did a great job adjusting to the racetrack. Kyle, obviously, his talents here are unbelievable.
Kyle Busch only led, after leading 186 of 200 in the May race here in his win, he only led 36 laps tonight.
Yeah, it wasn't the normal race that we see him run, but what we do know and have seen over the years is making adjustments and this driver adjusting to changing conditions too.
Baseball playoffs are going on now. A baseball hitter would love to have a 380 average. Kyle Busch has a 380 winning percentage in the Nationwide Series at this track for his career.
Wow. That is unbelievable.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing. Going to do the burnout while hanging out the car, or is he going to leave that one parked tonight?
Might just leave that one alone.
Yeah.
The only thing he's done wrong tonight.
Yeah, exactly.
Missed the flag.
Yeah, he's just tremendous, I tell you. I'm really proud of watching our championship contenders, though, in this Nationwide Series battle this guy. I mean, they only got beat by the best ever in this series. And so it says a lot for him, and he had to do everything that he could at the very end to make that happen.
It's going to be fun watching those two right down to the end, and who knows, maybe some more can get back into it, but it looks like a 2-man race for now. Kyle Busch to victory lane when we come back to Charlotte. Race 5 in the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup with Jeff Gordon on pole position tomorrow night here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Tonight, pretty exciting race that came down to the top 2 in the Nationwide Series Championship, fighting it out for the win with Kyle Busch. In the end, Austin Dillon and Sam Hornish Jr. basically played to a point draw tonight. Hornish Jr. leading the most laps, getting that bonus point. They started tonight 8 points apart. They finished tonight 8 points apart. Jamie?
Seems like they had a pretty good time racing as well. Austin came up. You guys were talking a little bit. Sam, what do you take away from tonight? It was a good run. You had good, you had bad moments, but it ended up, we saw there, you didn't lose any points.
Well, it sure looked a lot better, towards the end of the race than it did at the middle point. I felt really good about the car, first 75 laps, and just we got too free as the track cooled down. It got freer for us, and not only that, then we built freer as the runs went on. So we had a lot of work to try to get the car tightened up, but our Detroit Genuine Parts Ford Mustang was really good, and I tried to I got around Kyle there and had a bunch of fun racing with him, and thought that we had it in handle, and then like about 5 laps later the car started just getting really free. So that was a little bit disappointed, but to come out of here and to be at the same point that we were with Austin for the points feels pretty good, and just looking forward to moving on. The guys at Penske Racing gave me a good car tonight. Guys did a great job in the pit crew, and just want to thank all of our partners, Alliance Truck Parts and Alliance, and also the Worth Group, and just I want to get those wins. It's so. You don't get that close very often when you run, against Kyle, and especially here in the Nationwide Series, and to have it slip away in the last 10 laps is frustrating. But we'll try to figure out how to be better for Texas.
All right, let's go back upstairs to Alan.
Jamie, thanks. You heard Sam mention wins are hard to come by when you're racing Kyle Busch, particularly at Charlotte Motor Speedway. He's definitely not in Kansas anymore, Dave. He's in victory lane at Charlotte.
Oh, he's got some more work to do here. That is for Kyle Busch, an 8th-time victorious here in the Nationwide Series. And the phrase might be resounding in your head as well. You're not in Kansas anymore. It has to be a relief to get back here after last week. Kyle, talk about your victory tonight.
Yeah, I certainly want to do this tomorrow night also. But first and foremost, our breast cancer survivors with us here tonight, the champions that we have here tonight. This was an honor to them. Samantha's done a tremendous job with her Project Pink initiative, and to come out here and try to raise money. We had a dinner on Tuesday night. We had a mammogram unit at KBM on Thursday, and she's done a tremendous job. She deserves all the credit this week. She's done everything, but here on the racetrack, it was certainly fun. It was challenging tonight. I felt like I had the good Lord riding with me there at the end. I lost the lead, and I didn't think we were going to win the thing, and then somehow I got to the top and started making time and was able to get back up there. So don't know if I would have been able to do it without everything on this thing riding with us tonight and having a pink car. We appreciate Monster Energy letting us do that. It was certainly fun. I think it looked awesome. I think it was for a great cause. I think a lot of people took to it, and we enjoyed the whole program. And it's all this one. The good news?
Yeah.
We're going to donate all of our winnings tonight to
the Pretty in Pink Foundation.
To the Pretty in Pink Foundation.
Now, can we hear from Sam here? Because you've already paid the bills, we understand, of folks who aren't able to do that themselves. What does this mean to you to be able to finish the night the way you guys had hoped it to finish?
It has been amazing. God has blessed us with our sponsors and fans and friends. We raised $80,000 for them tonight. We have 9 patients here with us in Victory Lane, and now they're going to get the race winnings too to help more people.
Good job, bud. You made a lot of people happy tonight.
Well, hopefully a lot more in many years to come as well. So she wants to keep doing this for the foreseeable future.
Kyle and Samantha Busch in Victory Lane, but a big win for a lot of folks here tonight, Jamie.
And it was a great night for Austin Dillon as well. Finishes the night second, hangs on to the point lead with 3 races to go. How are you seeing this championship unfolding?
Well, it's going to be a battle. We're doing our job. They're doing their job to keep it close, and it's fun. Our Advocare Chevrolet was fast. I want to thank Nationwide Insurance, Tag Heuer Eyewear, everybody at ECR, RCR. The good Lord, he looked out for us tonight. We up and down, and we got it at the end, and that car really took off at the end. It's one of my favorite cars, and with 10 to go, I figured, man, we're going to have something for it because I could really get to him off of 4, and he just didn't make a mistake. It's that much, and I was concentrating with all I had to make sure I backed up my corner and hit my line, and that was the most fun race I've been in all year, and I want to thank the fans and everybody for being out here.
All right, Austin Dillon will be in Tony Stewart's machine, the 14 at Talladega next week, Doc.
Well, the 13th place finish may not reflect, but what an impressive performance by rookie Kyle Larson tonight. Kyle, you went old school on him, began to run the top groove, made some hay until late in the race when it bit you. Take us through what happened.
Yeah, all race long I was trying to get the top worked in, and he was able to find it, a long time before anybody else did, and got rolling. And we were probably the best car out there, I thought. Trent Owens did a heck of a job, and all my guys, to give me a way better car today than we had yesterday. Man, we were like 21st and 22nd in both practices yesterday. So, Trent did a great job to get our Target Chevy to life. And man, if you get a little too high, there's a lot of bumps. And I just got my right sides in it, and it got me sideways. And thought I was dirt tracking it up there against the wall, and just messed up a little bit and got into it and ruined our race. But once again, hats off to my guys. I want to thank Nationwide Insurance, all the fans that tuned in. I was having a blast out there, so I'm sure they were, having a heck of a time watching it too.
And Alan, he told me if he hadn't bumped the wall, he thought he had something in this car for the 54 and the 3, maybe down the stretch.
Sure looked like it.
He was trying to win it. He was driving hard, doing what he needed to do.
So Kyle Busch wins tonight, and now the Nationwide Series wrapping up a 21 consecutive weekend stretch of racing that started Memorial Day weekend here, has a couple of weeks off to regroup for that final trio of races to determine who'll be champion.
Yeah, 3 totally different racetracks there. It should be exciting to watch, and it's going to be a battle right to those last laps at Homestead.
NASCAR.com/tickets. Join us at the track. Texas next up for the NASCAR Nationwide Series in a few weeks. One other note, we've talked a lot about Kyle Busch sweeping the season. Crew chief will appreciate this. It's Adam Stevens' 3rd consecutive win at Charlotte. Remember, he won last year with Joey Logano, and then both this year with Kyle Busch.
Yeah, he's getting the job done too. He did a good job tonight adjusting that car.
So Kyle Busch, your winner after a hard-fought race, and the championship plays to a draw tonight with Austin Dillon and Sam Hornish. By the way, the Joe Gibbs 54 team reclaiming the lead in the Nationwide Series Owners Championship, heading to those final 3 races. And we look ahead to what will no doubt be a hard-fought race tomorrow night. The Bank of America 500, race 5 in the chase.
Yeah, a lot of excitement. 500 hard miles for the drivers.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch these guys chase this racetrack.
Some tough nights tonight for several drivers, especially Elliott Sadler, and a hard-fought race for the lead in the closing laps. In the end, Kyle Busch scored his record 8th win here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Sports Center is next. See you tomorrow night on ABC from here at Charlotte Motor Speedway.